Hi guys, Raw Russell here, and today is my review of NXT Takeover Dallas, one of the most anticipated wrestling shows in recent memory, a show that had so much hype going into it. It had 3 colossal main events, it apparently had 3 undercard matches, which one of them didn't end up actually happening. It's actually one of my issues with the whole show overall, but it had colossal expectations, and it's in WrestleMania week, so it's also got like the comparison to Mania when that comes out. So it had a lot it could fail at. Did it? Hell no, it didn't. To me, I'll tell you now, this is probably the best NXT show ever. Dallas was absolutely unbelievable. The match quality was top notch, and I'm so looking forward to reviewing it and watching it again. So anyway, we kick off the show with, let me just mention a few things about the crowd. The crowd were brilliant all night. The chanting was amazing. A few cool things about the crowd, though, were that a few people turned up. So you had, the Stephanie McMahon and Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. But then you had, Bobby Roode, which was holy crap, that's Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode, TNA original, in a WWE arena. That's amazing. You also had Kota Ibushi from New Japan Pro Wrestling. So that's really, really interesting. If they're trying to branch out a little bit to Japan, of course, they've got Nakamura, they've got Itami, they've got Asuka. So, I mean, with someone like Ibushi, it's another fantastic wrestler. And then the last thing I just want to say before I start is the Apollo Crews vs. Elias Sampson match was actually taken off the show and was recorded before the show began. Elias Sampson won, so that means I'm not actually having it as a prediction on the show because it never happened. Which means I don't lose a prediction. Yay! Why did Elias Sampson win? I don't know how he won either, I haven't checked, so... It was 12 minutes long, though, so it must have been quite definitive. Anyway, so the show opens how we thought it would open. NXT Tag Team titles, American Alpha against the Revival, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder, and this is just a tag team clinic. This is one of the best tag team matches I've seen in ages, and I've just got to check the time. Seriously, the heel work from Dash and Dawson, the great spots from Gable and Jordan when they do double German suplexes, when he goes to the Chaos Theory suplex. Absolutely amazing tag team matchup, great action. There was a few missteps, one specifically, there was a botch of, I guess, a double team powerbomb clothesline from Dash and Dawson, and then the crowd gave a Botchamania chant, which was kind of cool. But apart from that, this was just really, really damn good tag team wrestling. In the end, we have the finish we all wanted. We were finally ready, willing, and Gable. NXT were apparently ready, willing, and Gable because Chad Gable and Jason Jordan take the NXT Tag Team titles from the Revival after Jordan gets a smart blind tag, which Dawson doesn't see. Comes in, spears Dawson, grand amplitude, 1, 2, 3. They are the new NXT Tag Team Champions. It was a mark-out moment, and that was one of those things this show did so well. It made me feel like a wrestling fan again. No show since Brooklyn has made me feel like a wrestling fan like this show did, and I had goosebumps all night for every match because of the quality, because of what was going on. It was just an unbelievable night. My grade for the first match is actually 4 stars. It was great. Honestly, I basically said to my friend, if the show keeps this up, it's going to be the best NXT show. It's going to be one of the best shows of the year, probably the best show of the year if it keeps this up. And, it did. So moving on next, we had the first debut. It was Austin Aries against Baron Corbin, and this was a very good match. I think this showed Aries' high-flying offense very well. It also showed the heel side of Corbin. He literally looked like an absolute... Nobody liked him in the crowd. Well, no, in all honesty, the crowd were quite split, but after Corbin put on his heel side, nobody liked him, and that was perfect. That's what needed to happen for Corbin. Aries did a few suicide dives. He does the super impressive one where he goes through the middle and bottom ropes instead of the middle and top one, which is so awesome. He gave his big elbow to Corbin, but in the end, Corbin goes for the end of days. Aries counters it into a roll-up, 1, 2, 3. I didn't know how they would actually do the finish because Aries has the brain buster, which you can't really do to Corbin. But they went with a roll-up. I think that's a good finish because it doesn't quite destroy Baron Corbin, and it gives Austin Aries a big victory that he can lead up the card on, probably to the NXT title. I gave the match 3 stars. I think it was very good for what it was. I think it was exactly what it needed to be, and it's probably the best debut NXT have done since Kevin Owens. Or Finn Balor, actually. Alright, so, third match on the card, and this was the point where I felt like Cruz and Sampson had been cut. And this matchup was Shinsuke Nakamura against Sami Zayn. This is your match of the year for 2016. This matchup was unbelievable. There was back and forth. It was stiff. It had a great story. Both men played heels and faces. Nakamura and Zayn kicked the holy crap out of each other in an absolute slugfest. It was a barn burner. It was everything you wanted it to be as a wrestling fan. This was the perfect debut for Shinsuke Nakamura. It did everything right. It showed his arsenal of move. It showed how stiff he was. He was in the ring with the right guy in Sami Zayn. And the crowd was so split during this matchup. It was Nakamura, ole, ole, ole. And it was a terrific matchup to watch. And I'm going to watch it again after this review because it was amazing. Great back and forth. The forearms in the middle, which were stiff, they were giving each other, was a fantastic moment. Zayn went for the haluva kick, which Nakamura dodged. Nakamura planted him, went for the Bomaye knee, which I didn't know if he'd be able to use it, but they actually let him use it in this matchup, which he missed. Zayn went for an exploder. In the end, Nakamura got put on the top rope. But there's so many insane spots. Like, Zayn went for the DDT through the ropes. Nakamura caught him with a head kick. Like, that could go so wrong, and they did it so well. I have to check the time because I've had issues. But the ending came when Nakamura was on the top rope. Sami Zayn was in front of him, but looking the other way. He gave him a Bomaye knee to the back of the head, and then when he got up, gave him another one to the face. 1, 2, 3. Shinsuke Nakamura wins over Sami Zayn in his debut. They had a sign of respect after the matchup, very similar to AJ and Nakamura Wrestle Kingdom 10. I give this matchup 5 stars. It was unbelievable to watch. It was a moment in time, and it's a moment in wrestling I'm not going to forget as a fan. It was a mark-out moment for me as a fan of Nakamura, as a fan of Zayn, as a fan of NXT, as a fan of wrestling, as a fan of New Japan. So it was something incredible to watch, and that's why it gets 5 stars. It was an unbelievable matchup, and I knew, for the first time, strangely, Bayley would have to look at that matchup and say, I have to follow that on an NXT show. How did she do it? Well, we'll find out next. But anyway, Nakamura winning puts me 3-0 in my predictions. The next matchup was the co-main event and was the match before the main event, the penultimate match. NXT Women's title, Bayley against Asuka. They booked this perfectly. Everything about this matchup was done so well. It was so crisp. And Bayley and Asuka, honestly, went to war. They had a battle, they had a fight. Bayley took some hard shots to the jaw, apparently, really early on, where she was kind of like messing with it. Apparently something happened there. Asuka kicked the hell out of Bayley in this matchup. She went for the heel kick. She got her in the ankle lock. Very nice tribute to Kana, her old character there. That was very nice. Just a great matchup. Asuka and Bayley put on a war. Bayley never got to hit the Bayley to belly. However, she did use the modified armbar to try and make Asuka tap out. But in the end, at around 15 minutes, Asuka was fighting Bayley in the Kana lock, the Asuka lock, to get her down, and she kept trying to fight out of it, Bayley, and she kept trying to fight out of it, but in the end, Asuka locked the legs, Bayley passed out. Asuka's the new NXT Women's Champion. That was exactly the way I predicted it would be, and that's exactly the way it should have been. That's the way Bayley should have lost the belt. She shouldn't have had any choice in losing the title. Asuka wins, is the new NXT Women's Champion, and while part of me is like, oh, Bayley lost the belt, there's part of me that's like, yes, that's the right way to go, the right winner, the right title change, not even Marie. So, congratulations to Asuka. She's going to lead that division, hopefully in a dominant reign. And, I mean, me and my friend were watching this event, we were talking to each other on Uvu, and honestly, we had chills for pretty much every match. It was amazing. And we basically talked about the ending to this matchup, like, that's the way it should go. As much as we love Bayley to death, that's the exact way it should go. Asuka is amazing, and it makes total sense for her to win there. And now we have the main event, NXT title, Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe for the NXT title. This was a war. This was an absolute war. Balor and Joe went at it and killed each other. Joe got cut open very early on, and that was a very good spot, and that added to the brutality, how personal this war was between Balor and Joe. And seriously, I think this was better than the London match. I think this was better than I thought it would be. Balor and Joe told a very good story. Joe hit a muscle buster on Balor, which Balor kicked out of. Balor hit the coup de grace in the end on Joe, then went for the Bloody Sunday. Joe countered into the Coquina clutch, and they decided to go for an ending which I think was less definitive. I definitely think they should have had a very defined ending, like it's literally there, the end of the feud. But instead they went with the Survivor Series 1996 and Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin ending, with Hart going up the turnbuckle, falling back on Austin and rolling over for the 1-2-3. Balor retained his title against Joe in a great matchup. I loved it. There was great action, some nice back and forth. My biggest issue with it was the fact that the EMTs kept checking Joe's head to close up his wound. The issue with wounds now in WWE is if they're going to keep doing that, I would just have it, if somebody gets busted open, try and clean it up once. If it doesn't get cleaned, dab it once, maybe after, and then just leave it. You can't clean it, obviously. You're not going to be able to close it. So that was my biggest issue. But overall, a great matchup, a great way to end the show, even though if the finish was a little bit less defined than I wanted it to be. I gave the match 4 stars. It was great. Overall, NXT Takeover Dallas, it was a show that had a lot of hype going into it. There was going to be quality on it. I'm going to give the show 10 out of 10. I just think it just nailed everything. The tag match was great. A great debut for Aries. The match of the year in Nakamura and Zayn. A great women's match. And a great main event, I think, showed that NXT can still punch with the big boys of WrestleMania. And if WrestleMania's gonna slouch this year, like people think it will, I don't. But then it could be in serious trouble because, again, I'm going to reiterate, this is what your developmental are doing. They're putting on a 10 out of 10 show with a 5-star match and some 4-star matches. That's unheard of anywhere else in the world. You won't even see places like Ring of Honor do that. You won't see New Japan do that, really. Even though New Japan's last, obviously Wrestle Kingdom 10 was amazing. But WWE need to really have a great WrestleMania if they want to compete with this show. Remember they lost at SummerSlam. It looks like they might be losing here too. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. This has been Rolf Russell. I really, really enjoyed NXT TakeOver Dallas. It was an amazing show. A great match. Just, amazing. I'm going to rewatch it in like 3 minutes. So, thanks for watching, guys. This has been Rolf Russell. I hope you enjoyed NXT TakeOver Dallas as much as I did. Like, comment, and subscribe for more.